It is great to be with you, even if only virtually. T.S. Eliot very famously wrote, "What we call the beginning is often the end. To make an end is to make a beginning. The end is where we start from." I cited this quote at the very beginning of the year in the opening fall convocation because I thought that the paradox between end and beginning captured in a very powerful way what we were going through at that moment. We were ending 18 months of isolation, 18 months of a quiet quad, and we were beginning life anew on this quad. We welcomed 112 students to join those who were here with a student body total of 327. We welcomed 2 new faculty members and 7 new staff members. We did this on an occasion which was a beautiful day. We were at the east end of the interior of the quad, just below Marquand Chapel, in a large tent with people in seats all around the back. That end of the quad was filled. There was a vibrancy in the air. The sense of a new beginning was palpable. And we are all grateful for that. I want to talk to you about the school and what we're doing this year by talking about 4 major events or items. First, the pandemic itself and how we're addressing that. Secondly is student financial aid. Third, an update on the Living Village. And finally, to discuss our efforts at combating racism. All of us are living in a global pandemic. Some of us very deeply affected and some not quite so affected. We began planning for this year at the end of the last academic year by setting out certain guidelines that have had a real impact on the year. We mandated that all students, staff, and faculty be vaccinated. Over 98% of the entire YDS community is fully vaccinated. We also required that everybody wear masks. We moved a great deal of what we do online in an effort to protect certain key in-person events. So the first thing we protected was in-person instruction. So our classes are almost all, there are a couple of exceptions, but almost all in person. Marquand is meeting in person, although there's a limit on the number of people that can be in Marquand. It was initially 80, now it has been expanded to 100. From a student standpoint, I think I can express their judgments in 3 paradoxes. First, as the student council president said to me, students have gratitude for being back in person, but they experience grief because those who are returning know that they've lost 18 months of what they now have, and they're sorry that they missed those 18 months. There's a great deal of energy that students have being back in person, able to interact with one another and with faculty, and at the same time, they're innervated as a result of pandemic fatigue. I would also say that they're hopeful because they can see progress in overcoming the pandemic, and yet they're very hesitant because of all of the uncertainties that cloud the future. And so if you want to know where students are at, I would say they have a mixed response. There's good esprit de corps, and yet there is a degree of anxiety that we haven't been able to eliminate. But all in all, I think things right now are going well. We've only had one case of COVID-19, a breakthrough case, and it was very mild, and that's now in the distant past. Let me now turn to student financial aid. I am absolutely thrilled to be able to thank all of you for your support for the students. We've been able to make great progress. I think you know this, but we've doubled our financial aid in the course of the last 9 years, and we are poised to reach our goal of providing full tuition for everyone with demonstrated need in the offer letters that will go out this next spring for students who will matriculate next August. We are only $3.75 million short in our endowment for student financial aid of reaching that, and we're hopeful, and we have reasons to be hopeful, that we will be able to close this gap and reach that goal. So to all of you, whether you have given an endowed scholarship, and many of you have, either individually or through class gifts, or if you have contributed to the annual fund, we say a very hearty and profound thank you. You have made a real difference. Now you're probably wondering, what's next? When we close this gap and are able to offer full tuition, we will then turn to assisting our students with their living expenses. It's very expensive to live in New Haven. Many of you will remember that. But it's about $22,000 to $24,000 a year for a single student to live very modestly in New Haven. We'll make determinations about which tact we will take once we're able to set our budget for next year and when we know exactly where we'll stand with the tuition. But again, thank you for all of your support. One of the most important ways that we can help our students address living expenses is by the building of what we call the Living Village. I think all of you are aware that in 1957, the Divinity School constructed 3 apartment buildings, but they were built with a 40-year life expectancy, and their time is quickly coming to an end. So we have been planning to build the Living Village for a long time now, and I'm pleased to be able to say that in June, the corporation approved our plans for the Living Village. The timeline for the construction of the Living Village is next year, that is 2022, will be the development of the construction plans, the blueprints, and the bids for the actual contractors to construct it. And then work will begin early in 23 with the occupancy slated for the fall of 24. That is the completion by July of 2024. So for all of you who have said prayers or given support in one way or another for the Living Village, and some of you have been donors, we say thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We're hoping to do 4 things with this, just to remind you. 1, we are going to bring people back in much closer proximity to the quad itself, where many of you once lived, and we hope by doing that we can enhance the sense of community. There will be some opportunities for intentional communities within the Living Village itself. A second goal is, as I said, student financial aid. We plan to offer our units at below market rates as a way of helping the students. A third goal, which is really important, is to make an eco-theological statement. These buildings must generate all of their own power, and we hope additional power. They will do so through solar energy and geothermal wells. They need to capture and process all of their own water through rainfall and snowfall. They need to handle all of their own waste, They cannot be built out of any substance that is known to pose a threat or harm to life, not only human life, but to all of life. And they have to be built out of a great deal of local materials. So these should be very beautiful structures, but make a real statement about our commitment to sustainability. And finally, when you think of the Quad, all of you know this, you think of a beautiful structure designed on the model of Mr. Jefferson's University of Virginia. And while our Quad is beautiful, architecturally it looks to the past, and to a past that was not always inclusive. Our charge to the architects, and especially to the designers, is create something that complements LE, our existing Quad, but is oriented towards the future and makes a statement of inclusivity for all. We want this to be a place where everyone has the conviction, I belong here. Let me now turn to our efforts to address the issue of racism. I am very confident that all of you reacted the same way that I did on May 25th, 2020, when we witnessed the murder of George Floyd. We had visceral reactions. One of the things that I realized is that for all of the efforts that we had made at diversifying our school, we had not done nearly enough. We had addressed a good number of things in terms of representation, in terms of our curriculum, in terms of co-curricular activities, and what I call the iconography. But we needed to really address fundamentally the problem of racism. So that summer we did 4 things. We commissioned 2 people to write a history of YDS and slavery with all of its aftermath. That history has been written. We were asked to release it after the university had its major conference on Yale and slavery, which will take place at the very end of this month, October 28th through 30th, and I urge you to watch that. We will announce the specific day when we are ready to release our history in November, so you'll know about it in advance. It will be an online exhibit. The second thing we did is the leadership team of the school developed a series of 6 major proposals to address issues of racism. Then I called a special meeting of the Dean's Advisory Council that summer, laid these proposals in front of them because a number of these proposals will require extra funds, and we've been working with some of those members at trying to raise funds for some of these programs. And finally, I appointed a task force to take the academic year to rethink the strategic plan that we had and to create a new one. The task force completed its work. The 2 co-chairs were Professors Willie Jennings and Laura Nasrallah. I'm very grateful to both of them for their incredibly diligent and thoughtful work all last year. They gave us a proposal with 4 main areas and 27 different recommendations. We are addressing those. We will have this month, and maybe by the time you see this, it will have occurred, a town hall for students to also weigh in now that they're back, and one last chance for input from students. And then we'll begin releasing our response to those in November. We understand that this is something that is of national importance, and personally, I think we need a national conversation about slavery and its aftermath. I'm not optimistic that we're going to have that, but we are going to do this locally at the Divinity School, and I'm very pleased that Yale University is going to do the same thing as a university. Thank you so very much for your support. I'm anxious to be able to welcome you back in person to the Quad, and I hope that a year from now we are able to do just that, and instead of sitting in the common room talking to you on camera, I will be shaking your hand or giving you a hug and welcoming you back to your home. Thank you.